For me, it's always like, hope I get another opportunity, because the industry is highly competitive. There's so many other publicists and so many other dope, um, you know, agencies doing amazing work, so why should they come work with me?
Welcome to the first episode of SOQ Conversations with me, Ellie Karis. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with one of East Africa's leading entertainment publicists and media entrepreneur. She is a woman who is breaking barriers to achieve success and is an inspiration to many. Welcome once again. Let's delve into the conversation. Welcome, Anyiko.
Thank you so much. It's
Wow.
so wonderful to meet you in person. I remember when you sent me the message, I looked you up on social media and I was like, oh, I'm already following this amazing lady. And then I saw that you were in Masai Mara and I was like, oh my God, this is such a dope place she's at. And it's a place we always love. I love. We actually named our daughter Mara just because we really love the place.
Oh, wow.
She wasn't made in Mara, but we just tell some people, yeah, she was made in Mara. But
I love that story.
yeah,
was
so my
made in
daughter is
Mara.
Mara.
Oh, that's lovely. I actually love the Mara. I think Kenya is so beautiful in terms of wildlife safari. When she grows up, she's going to tell people, my name is Mara and I was made in the Mara.
Yeah, or my name is Mara and you can come to Masai Mara.
Oh,
So
wow.
cool.
She needs to be, you need to sign, they need to sign her on as an ambassador. Now.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? So it's really beautiful. I hope you enjoyed your time there.
I really did. Thank you so much for honoring my invitation.
Thank
It's
you
been
for
a long
having
time
me.
coming, but
Thank you
I
so
am
much.
super elated to finally have you on. Thank you so, so much. So let's start from how it all started.
Okay.
Apart from the Mara story. Okay, so can you please tell me about your upbringing, your background in relation to your love for music and the
Okay.
entertainment industry?
Ooh, I love this question. Nobody asks it like this. So I was born and raised in a small town outside of Nairobi. It's called Molo. It's a little town close to another bigger town called Nakuru. So everybody knows Nakuru, but not many people know Molo. It's a very cold place, so we always would bundle into the house, drink tea at any time of the day. I come from a family of five. I am the last born, and I have one brother. He is the firstborn. So in our family, we always loved music and culture. And when I was young, we used to have a video library where people from the town would come and hire out tapes, cassettes. When people used to listen to cassettes and watch videotapes on the video decoder.
DVDs.
That period, not even DVD. Before that was before DVD. So when I was, I think like between 1 and 5, there was no DVD then. Still, so we were having this library where people would come and borrow tapes. So we'd have tapes of MTV music recorded, Michael Jackson, like I don't know, international tours, Brenda Fassie, music videos, those kind of things, and just films. So I think that's where the love for the culture came from. Being from a small town, you're not really exposed, but I was still exposed in that way. There's no malls to go to. There's no, um, you know, there are no places to go. There are no cinemas. There are no beautiful restaurants. So all this is a life I would see on film or on TV and aspire to one day go to the city and be at those places and do things with those people. And so I was addicted to, watching TV, watching music videos, dubbing, singing songs. I just used to find things to do. I would put on the radio and listen to the music and then put on the TV and put a music video, then be stopping the music and dubbing and stuff. Like, I don't know what I was doing, but I just love to do that. And so I would only come to Nairobi once in a while to visit maybe relatives, my aunties. And when I would come to Nairobi, like, oh my God, look at the tall buildings. And one day I want to live here and work here. And when I reached the age of 18, I came to Nairobi for my gap year before starting university. And I studied French for some time at the Alliance Francaise. Actually, didn't finish my diploma in French because I was very busy with the art and culture activities at the Alliance Francaise as opposed to the study. And that was always me. Even in high school, I was the entertainment prefect or captain. I knew what people would have to be watching on the weekend for entertainment or music to play, or all the news that everybody in school need to know what's happening in the world. So much into that I was forgetting to do the actual studies. So I was really good at languages. I was doing well in certain areas, and in certain areas, because I wasn't putting in the work, I wasn't doing so well. But I was always a bright student, and my mom always knew that there would be something for me. I wasn't sure what would be my thing later on in life, but I guess entertainment, culture, music, that was it. I didn't look at it that way then, but that would be my career to be, and that's kind of my foundation. My family, my sisters, my mom, my dad, we all always loved music and all sorts of music, African pop music. My dad loved Franco, Kanda Bongo Man. My big sister loved, I don't know, like Zouk music from different parts of Africa. So I was always exposed to this kind of music from a young age. And yeah, and so coming into this place where I am right now as a music and entertainment publicist, like that's the foundation of why I'm doing this and why I'm here. And I think from the very beginning, the kind of African music we're exposed to was very diverse, from different parts of the continent, sounded very different. So I feel like that's my mission, to also try and put that out that way, to put out culture that way, to put out musicians who are very unique to themselves and authentic to themselves that way. It's not always about that pop song or pop music or that one thing that's trending, but the various elements that make the African culture what it is and just as diverse as it is. So yeah, that's in essence my background. Yeah.
Wow, we have some similarities with background. So I was also an entertainment prefect. For me, I at an a younger age, I had the innate passion for drawing, and I think the love for music and for journalism began when my older sister would, she had this compilation of foreign songs, and that was when my dabbing was. And then you listen to it, and when you go back to school, you're singing to your friends, and just like,
Yeah.
but this is not a Ghanaian song.
Yeah,
It made you feel kind of like
Exactly.
extra.
Yeah.
So I think that's where mine began. But I was also an entertainment prefect. I was so involved in organization of entertainment activities. I was in the drama club. I always volunteered to read
The news.
coursework in class and all that,
Same
and
here.
rehearsing and practicing on my own
Crazy.
somewhere as if I was a renowned journalist. But that's
Crazy.
how
I wish
started
someone was
for me.
taking videos of us so we could see ourselves. But we would stand or in front of the class or of the school and be like, today, da 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 da.
And look, we are here
We're
today.
here today.
Thanks be to God. But yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah, that's so lovely to know. That's so lovely. Getting to know your background now, I'm just thinking, so why not become a singer? Why PR, and why are you prominent and influential currently in the entertainment industry?
So first and foremost, I wanted to sing. I did. I sang in school in the choir. I sang at the choir in Alliance Francaise. But I just wasn't a good standalone singer. I wasn't. And the good thing with me, I think I'm honest enough to tell myself the truth. I don't lie to myself. If I wanted to be a singer, I would make myself a superstar. Like I just sometimes go ahead and just try to do things and I find them working, but I just felt like I was not the best singer, and sometimes it's better to let the people best at their jobs do those jobs. So I'm gonna let the artists be the singers and I'll be the PR person. So I hoped in the beginning that I would become a singer, but after I started joining the choirs, started to see like what an actual good singer is made of. I was like, that's not me. And then I would also be shy to sing alone, but when I would be in groups of people, I would be so comfortable. So I realized at an earlier stage of my career that I like to roll with kind of creatives. I like to be around other creatives. I like to be around something being made or being put out, but I don't want to stand alone and do my thing myself. So even now, if I would have to be in a group, I would probably be singing something with the group, but not individually. So I got into media because that actually was my passion, what I wanted to do. I studied media and journalism at the University of Nairobi, and I've been very successful in my media career. So I started out on radio. I worked at the BBC Africa Bureau here in Nairobi. After that, I got a job at KBC, which is our national broadcaster, Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, and I was hosting a show called Grapevine. It's a very important show. Anybody in Kenya knows it and even knew it before I got onto the show. The show already existed. The show is a cultural show that just shows it's an entertainment magazine show. Basically, when you watch the show, you get to know what's happening in Nairobi, what's happening in Kenya, what's happening in Mombasa in terms of concerts, new songs, new artists visiting the country. So it just travels around. It's a cultural show showing these are the cultural events, these are the artists, and so on and so forth. So I was watching the show when I was living in Molo, and I remember telling myself in Molo, like, when I go to Nairobi, I'm going to find these people and I'm going to work with them. So when I came to Nairobi, when I was at the Alliance Francaise, it's one of the creative spaces that gives space to creatives to host concerts and stuff like that. So it's one of the places I used to see on TV, people having concerts there and stuff like that, and for free. Because coming from a small town to the city, you don't have the money to pay for concerts. I hardly had money to take a matatu to town. So I would target the venues that had the free concerts. So I would come to Alliance and just camp there. And when I saw a camera and the crew, I was like, are you the people from Grapevine? And they're like, yeah, who are you? And I was like, well, I'm Anyiko and I'm a fan of yours. And I was like, I'm looking for your producer. Well, like, why? I'm just looking for him. And they're like, look, he doesn't come out for concerts, and when he does, we let you know. So I would always be trailing them, and sometimes they would give me an opportunity and say, do you want to be interviewed about the concert? I'm like, yeah, sure. I was always ready. So they'd ask me, how was the concert? I'm like, it was wonderful, whatever. And people would be like, oh, we saw you on Grapevine. And one day their producer came and I just introduced myself and was like, I want to host your show. And he was like, but we already have a host. I was like, yeah, I'll do a better job than she will. And so he had my contact, and I would always be bugging him. And so I started university and I'll still be bugging him. Like, I want to be on your show. So one day the lady who used to host the show, resigned. And he called me, said, do you still want to host the show? I was like, yeah. So he asked me to go to KBC for a screen test. And I don't know if there were a couple of us or it was only me, but then that's how I got the job to host a TV show. So I was on there for 7 years. It was a really great period for me to get into the industry, network with people, go to events. I was very outgoing at that point. I worked there as a co-host of the show. Sometimes I would be the only host if my host wasn't there. I also co-produced the show. I was working there as a script writer. So it was really wonderful a time for me in my experience as a broadcast journalist. And so when I was coming out of it, I felt like, wow, this has been an amazing 7 years of broadcast journalism and, documenting all this culture. But something stuck with me. I felt like the artists, in Kenya needed more assistance. At that point, I didn't see any renowned publicists or publicist period. I would call artists for interviews. You wouldn't get them. There was nobody else to reach out to get to them. They would come for interviews. Didn't know how to present themselves. They would maybe have the biggest song in the country, but they wouldn't know how to explain that themselves. And I was like, okay, this is not making sense when you have all these accomplished artists, but They don't know how to present themselves. They don't know how to brand themselves. They sometimes don't even know why they should be doing an interview. Like, I'm chasing them, and if I wasn't chasing them, they wouldn't know that they need to come for an interview. So that's where the idea came to become a professional music publicist, because I did see that there was a gap in the industry, and I had already started doing some professional work in music publicity with Sauti Sol, my friends who I met when I came to Nairobi at the age of 19. Now they're a superstar band. Then I also started working with Coke Studio Africa as the publicist of Coke Studio. So all those earlier opportunities to work professionally as a music publicist prepared me for this stage that I'm in now. You know, because in 2017 I opened my agency officially, to be able to work with more young people, more artists from across the continent, and to be able to do more projects, because as an individual, I could only do so much. You know, even at I couldn't even as an individual say run 3 media tours at the same time, because if I need to be somewhere with one artist and there's another thing happening, I can't be at two places at the same time. So having to open my PR company allowed me to do all the things I wanted to do, even without me being the one to do them. But like, I'm having a team to orchestrate all these things or to implement or whatever, and allows me to work on the development of, you know, the company and myself, and of other artists, because we've reached a point. My PR agency, Anyiko PR, we've reached a point where we are now working with younger artists to develop them. You know, the artists who cannot pay for PR, we can now afford to promote them without them having to pay us, or maybe them having to pay us subsidized amounts. But in the beginning, when I was starting the company, you know, you need a huge investment to put the company together, to pay for office space, to pay for rent, to pay people's salaries and all that. So
And even
at
to
that
support the artists.
exactly. So at that point, it was really difficult to be able to do, say, pro bono work. But now I feel like the point at which I am in the company, I'm able to do so much more than just PR to artists as I had started. So to answer your question, I think what has made me maybe prominent or well known is just the fact that I already was somebody in the industry who was working in the media space, who was known to be supporting artists and putting out arts and culture stories on artists. So I was considered as somebody who was moving the culture or helping put out the culture in that way, but only as a journalist. And I felt like that was limiting, you know, being on TV and being able to interview one person to me was so limiting, because I wanted to do more. I wanted to not just interview Sauti Sol, but be able to put them out on various platforms and media across Africa. So I wanted to have a bigger impact, and I wanted to see the artists go beyond borders. And there was no other way of being able to do that other than getting into PR. And I think I was one of the first, like, publicists who, you know, came out strong supporting artists or supporting the arts and culture scene. Now I see so many other publicists in Kenya doing that, but before I was doing it, no one was doing it. You know,
I'm just thinking about, how you started with Grapevine, and you're still doing something similar, even with VIP access. Yeah,
yes.
and this time is bigger and better.
Oh yes, thank you for bringing that up. It's just like, I think you know this. Once a TV girl, always
It's
a
a
TV
TV
girl,
girl.
or a radio girl, always a radio girl, or a journalist, always a journalist, you know, no matter what. So when I left TV, a lot of my fans were really disappointed. They're like, where are you going? Are you going to another TV station? But I knew I wasn't going to another TV station. So it was kind of heartbreaking for them. But one thing I remember I said when I hosted my last show, I said, it's not going to be the end of me and of this, and we will meet somewhere. You'll see me somewhere. So I invested in my studio equipment, like camera, lights, sound, all those things, because you need that. You know, if you don't have that, then you have to hide out. At that point, I actually did not have any business in PR. I did not have any money. So when I left the TV job, I was like, where do I start? It was almost like a new start. But as I was starting afresh, I started with investing in the camera equipment. And so later on, I launched my podcast and YouTube show called VIP Access, which basically is a series of interviews with various artists and creatives, some who I'm working with, some I'm not working with, but who are all so inspiring, have an African story to tell, have a journey to share, to explain to people how they got to where they are, and maybe the challenges that we never see behind the scenes. So that's what VIP Access is, and I travel along with it. Sometimes I've been to Nigeria, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda,
Ghana.
Burundi, but I didn't go to Ghana with VIP access. Okay. But I was there, so I hope next time I can go with my crew and be able to speak to different creatives in Ghana. But it's all about the resources and the money, because it's a self-funded project. It's a passion project. I call it that way. But then I've learned in life that if you put your passion first, if you put what you love at the forefront, it will always pay off. So I don't regret anything. I don't intend to stop this.
I'm so glad about the fact that you've also worked with so many renowned artists across the continent. You've created magic with them, along the line. Who are you most excited to work with globally, and why?
I've worked with a lot of artists. It's a lot of people. So in Tanzania, Ali Kiba, Lady JD, Vanessa Mdee, Omi Dimples, Abigail Chams. She's new and she's really cool. Brian Simba. In Uganda, Navio, Irene Tale, The Myth, Flex the Paper, Tribe Uganda team. In Burundi, I've worked with Satsby, who's a really huge artist in Burundi. In Ethiopia, we've worked with Jano Band, Messiahs, who's this other lady? Blacking out. In Nigeria, Yemi, Alade, Mr. Easy, Gospel on the Beats, Olamide, Shay Shay, now King Perry. It's a long list. In Ghana, Stone Boy, who I love. Stone Boy. Bim Nation. Manifest, Joy B. This is a lady in Ghana who I really love.
Is it Efia?
Oh God, I love her so much. Well, we haven't worked with her, but I really love her. She's performed here in Kenya a couple of times. Yeah.
Jackie?
We haven't worked with Jackie. We actually have worked with Jackie indirectly through a partnership with another company. Yeah, when she was a rising artist for Apple Music, something of the sort. So a lot of artists, and I'm very honored to have had an opportunity to work with all these artists. And for me, it's always like, hope I get another opportunity, because the industry is highly competitive. There's so many other publicists and so many other dope, agencies doing amazing work, so why should they come work with me? Especially with an independent lady or an independent agency, which is still not being backed by a big organization or something. Why should they still come to me and my team? So I think that keeps me going, and every opportunity I get, to me it's like the last opportunity, and I have to do a really great job so that this artist or this company can come back. So it's always like that. It's highly competitive. I'm not even gonna lie. It's not a joke.
Beyond Africa, who are you excited to work with?
Okay,
the opportunity, and
if
why?
Given the opportunity beyond Africa, I don't really know, because my focus is Africa and always has been. I don't really think outside of Africa. I more think of organizations or artists who would like to do stuff in Africa. So I would be able to work with them and show them around, explain to them how things work in my region or in the rest of the continent. But I'm not really thinking outside of Africa. I think there's still a huge need for us PR people or media people to highlight more African stories and artists. And it's not like my work is done in that not field, but in the region of Africa. So I'm not really looking forward to working with any artists outside of Africa. But if there are any artists who are outside of Africa and would want to work with me, I'm open to that. But I'm more and more and more looking to work with more African artists and to break them in various markets. So if I have big artists in Kenya and East Africa, I want to see how can we come to Ghana. How can they do stuff in Ghana? Ghanaians are so nice and so open,
meaningful collaboration,
right? And the same, like we were speaking, me and you, the other day. Like I would love to see how I can also come to Ghana and meet with creatives and see what are the potential areas of collaborating between Ghanaians and say East Africa, and stuff like that. So I still want to develop a lot of projects and artists in the continent, and that's my focus for now.
You talk about filling the gap, especially in this industry. With over 10 years of experience in the field, how do you see understanding of PR, and its necessity currently in Africa? Things are evolving now.
Okay, in the beginning, I feel like when I started with the PR, it was just something I love to do. I was like, I love to write, I love to distribute dope work. Why not do it? So it started with that context, just like something I like to do, something I enjoy doing. But over the years, I've come to learn that it's helped me that it's something I love to do, but it's something very important, something that should be taken very seriously and also professionally. Because when I started, I was doing it as a passion and it wasn't a profession for me. To an extent, certain artists were coming and saying, "Oh, could you do for me what you did for the other person? And how much should I be paying you?" I'm like, I don't know. What do you want to pay me? So that was also a wrong approach. This is a professional industry, which is very important, and especially in light of Africans wanting to tell their own stories. The PR people should be there to help define these narrative stories, help spotlight these talent and artists and stories that would otherwise never be known. We have access to so many other people and networks across the world and Africa over that other artists and creatives don't have. So it really is the role of the PR gurus, king and queen makers to be the ones to, tell the African story and be able to tell all these different type of stories our creatives and artists are telling through their art and work. And the culture is diverse. It's not just the music, but the people, the languages, the tribes, the food, the culture, the festivals, um the trends, the dances. So all those are things we need to be profiling. If there's dope stylists, if there's dope chefs and dope destinations, that's our job to be, sharing this culture in little bits and pieces of Africa. So um I think to answer your question, that's how I've come to learn that the PR work is not one thing. The arts and culture industry is so diverse. It's not one thing. So we can do so much more if we only broaden our perspective and also educate the media and the general public to look at art and culture that way. A lot of Africans don't see art still as a professional thing and career. They're only starting to see that with African music blowing up, globally. But that's even wrong. You should not think that it's a thing because people are getting big in America or whatever. You should just know that it's a thing because it is a thing. Because some of these artists, before they blew up internationally, they blew up already in Africa or in their respective countries. So I think more and more I understand that we need to keep educating people and making sure the right stories are out there, just so the entire general public perspective of art and culture changes. And I think when that changes from the public, it changes to the policymakers, it changes to the government. And then even later on, government and policymakers will be making more informed choices and policies that also benefit the creative sector and industry, because the infrastructure is still really kind of broken and not well put, and that doesn't benefit the creatives. But all this is work in progress, and PR is at the center of it. It is.
When we talk, we've mentioned some of the challenges in the field. Also, sexism is rampant in the industry. What has been some of your experiences?
I feel like I have I have I, I've had it's like I've had the experience of sexism, but then I've experienced it on one side, and then on one side I haven't experienced it. I feel like because I started my career earlier on and already in media, I had I had established sort of um, like a nice launching pad for myself. I didn't wake up one day and say, "Oh, I want to be a publicist," or "Oh, I want to call this person." Like, I already kind of was existing in the industry before coming into this role as a PR agency owner. So I feel like that already gave me a starting point. A lot of people who I would reach out to as a PR publicist or as a PR agency owner sometimes would be like, "Oh, I remember seeing you on TV." So I feel like I had that, and so many other, women in the industry don't have that. So many women were never on any radio station or TV station. People don't know their faces, and they show up somewhere, and they're experiencing this discrimination. So certain times I've experienced it, and most of the times I experienced it was with male counterparts. And I experienced it even with my colleagues in my agency. You would tell them something like, "Oh, this report needs to be redone, and this just doesn't cut it," and they'd just like be rude back to you and say, "Oh, I can't do that," or "I don't like that type of work," and you're like, "What are you talking about?" Sometimes I would sit down and think, and I'm like, I don't think if you had a male boss and you know line producer, I don't think you'd speak to them like that, because it's completely out of line. And sometimes it just feels like someone spoke to me a certain way or treated me a certain way just because I'm a lady. Because it's outrageous sometimes. Some things someone will tell you. Like, one time we went to a meeting with another agency, and the owner of that agency, an Indian guy, called me a girl, and I'm like, I'm not even a girl. Like, I'm a woman. He's like talking to his staff, and he's like, "Oh, you'll just talk to that girl," and it was very offensive. I don't think he would be calling a fellow CEO male a boy, right? Not even a man. So those things do happen. And even during Coke Studio, I met a lot of artists, managers, or artists themselves who would meet me and they'd be like, "Oh, you are the Anyiko. We thought it would be an older person, and we thought it was a man." Like, I got those kind of comments. Or sometimes they would be introduced to me and they would say, "Oh, so she will handle all your PR, she'll handle all your media," and they would just kind of ignore me. And then later on, when we start working together, they start paying attention. They're like, "Oh, okay, so you're getting work done." So I think there's been instances here and there, but I always just focus on the work, because I let the work speak for itself. I could make so much noise, but then I could let my work speak for itself. So over the years, I've worked very hard to make the work speak for itself, and now it's speaking for itself.
Definitely. Talking about male counterparts, I would like to know, is it a male artist, or anyone you had to work with and the person impressed you, with combating the issue of sexism?
Yes, yes, yes. Oh my God, I want to speak about Taye, Mr. Ogataye Aliyu, who's the manager of Yemi Alade. He's also a co-founder of the record label FZ Music, or the founder. Taye, I've had an experience working with Taye since Coke Studio. That's where we first met in 2015. And after Coke Studio, we started working together with Yemi, with his record label, with other artists who he's worked with or continues to work with. So that's a long time. So in 2019, he did something that was like, oh my god, I can't believe you've done this. He called me. It's like, Yemi has a song with Anyiko, Shekere, and it's like, we want to shoot the video in Kenya. So he was just kind of flaunting the idea, and he was like, tell me what you think. So he was telling me so many ideas, like, no, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this location, da, da, da. And he was like, okay, according to how you sound, it almost sounds like you know what I'm looking for and what would be best. So I think you should be producing this video. And I was like, wow, like no one ever, gave me an opportunity to produce a music video, and I didn't even think about it. And so that's where the chance and the opportunity came in. The fact that he trusted me with that huge opportunity is everything, because I've never produced any video. They're coming in only a day before the shoot, and what if something goes wrong or whatever? But he really did trust me with it, and I did not disappoint. But had he not trusted me with it, um, I don't think I would get that opportunity to produce that video or maybe any other video. So one opportunity always leads to the next. So I feel like having produced the music video of Yemi Alades Shekere is a big thing for me, but would never have happened had it not been for Taye. So he's one person I've met, one man, not one man, one person. I haven't even seen any woman roll the way he rolls, who empowers women so much. But not empowers women so much, but gives equal opportunity to all. The way he sees me is probably the way he sees another dude, but he will see me different, or see the other dude different based on our capabilities, but not because we are either male or female. So to be seen as the professional I am, and not because I'm a woman or whatever, was really great. And on top of that, I would also love to be seen as a woman. I'm not saying I don't want to be um, seen as a woman, but it's good sometimes to also just be seen for the work you do. And he does see me for that, and we have a really great relationship working together. And I wish that was how every other male counterpart would see me. Yeah.
And we need more men like Taye in our society.
Yes, so
that's nice. You have worked with renowned agencies. We are talking about music agencies. We are talking about Empower, Sony Music, there's Boomplay, and a whole lot of other agencies. I want to find out from you, what are your strategies and tactics, to attaining such collaborations from these giant companies?
To be honest, there's no specific strategy to get to them, but I think we have a lot of synergies. Between me, my company, and them, we have a lot of synergies because we represent, Africa. We represent African stars. But when I say African stars, I don't mean the A-listers, but all the creatives, all the artists who see themselves as a star or who want to work towards highlighting their star power. We work with artists to bring out their star power. So we will pick you and show the world why you are a superstar. So it could be like an upcoming artist who just released his album. He's a superstar. But then if you don't brand yourself as one, if you don't see yourself as one, it's really hard to end up being a superstar. So we work very closely with artists to help them build that brand and that confidence, and also the content that lives up to the standard of stars. So I think because I've already had that brand, my company has had that brand since the start. We only represent African stars. We do represent non-African stars when they reach out, but we're not going out of our way to do that. Our forte is African music and stars. And because we do that, I think we do align with some of these companies, and what they want to do. They want to distribute their music across the continent. There are no barriers or borders when it comes to music distribution. And also the artists who they're signing to, they would like their artists to be huge in all the regions. They could be having the biggest artist in Nigeria, but it doesn't make sense for them to have the biggest artist in Nigeria when no one is listening to his music in Southern Africa or Eastern Africa or whatever. So that's where we come in, because a lot of the brands we work with are global brands, or brands with a Pan-African view. We are a similar brand, so they will come to us and say, "We are already doing this in West Africa or Southern Africa or whatever. How can you plug in East Africa, or could you plug in into our Africa campaign? And how do you want to plug in? Because we also do and have done a lot of African campaigns, like even with the launch of Country Queen, which is the first Kenyan series on Netflix, and it's on Netflix Global. So we also did PR on that, and we did like an African campaign, like with various influencers. So we are capable of doing Pan-African campaigns, and the reason why we get this type of gigs is because we are already out there with that agenda and doing that work. We're not saying that we would like to do that, we're actually doing it. We have contacts all over the continent, like every country, and especially the key market. So I think that's also a plus. We also have various publicists in various countries that we work with closely. It's not the same for me to run PR in Ghana as opposed to Mensa doing stuff there, because he's actually on ground. So it helps that Anyiko PR has representatives in every country. So certain things that we can't do remotely, we have people who do them for us on ground. So we have Antoine, who actually put us together as our representative in Ghana. And we have someone in every country. Yeah.
On that note, shout out to Antoine, amazing media personality from Ghana. Talking about Country Queen, I really love that series. Honestly, brilliant production, and I believe that we have some issues in Africa, that needs to be projected, and then we find solutions to it. I love it. So to the cast, to the team behind the production, and the amazing Anyiko herself, with PR work, it was such a brilliant production. I'm waiting for season 2.
Oh my God,
is there going to be season 2?
I don't know. We hope, but then the ending, right? It ended as if it was starting.
Yeah. Yes,
the ending was a nice ending.
I really love Country Queen. It was such a brilliant production. So I'm looking forward to season 2. I think you should let the producers
We're looking forward to season 2. Producers, if you're watching, come out, you.
But yes, it's such a brilliant, and all of them were Kenyans, right? The actors.
Yes.
Brilliant. So
apart from the Chinese, but obviously, yeah.
I've met Peter, the one who played the pastor.
Yes,
I actually met Peter years ago. Yeah, we were just talking about the industry and all that, and I'm so happy for him and all that he's doing. Yeah, great actor, and he's also into production. So yeah, waiting for Country Queen season 2.
Yes,
it must happen soon. Yes. How do you say soon in Swahili?
Karibuni.
Yeah, like
karibuni.
now.
Hivi karibuni.
Okay.
Because when you say karibuni, only karibuni is like welcome.
Yeah.
But when you say hivi karibuni, it means soon.
All the things that you've said, putting Africa on the map, that is your main career purpose.
Yes.
What more would you want to do?
I want to do more artist development. I want to get more into imparting knowledge into various individuals in the industry, especially those who want to work in the industry. So that's what I'm getting into more and more. Organizing various talks, workshops, trainings, doing speaking engagements, and helping curate events, concerts, and conferences that bring out various professionals who will impart knowledge, because knowledge exchange is also very important, and that's also missing. So that's what I want to do more and more, because that's different. That's not PR. Yeah.
There is a segment on this SOQ conversations. It's called SOQ Fun. This is just me asking you random questions, just to know the other side.
Yes.
So, if you were to give up on one belief, what would it be and why?
Okay, so if I had to give up one belief, I think it would be like focus on one thing. People always say focus on this one thing. You need to be known for this one thing. You can't do all these things. It's too much for you. A lot of people told me that in the beginning, and I listened to them. Didn't do a lot of things that I had wanted to do in the earlier on, and then later on in life was like, I could have done all those things, because now I'm dabbling in everything I wanted to do. I think it was good advice. It's good advice to focus on one thing, but
if you're super ambitious like I am and feel like you're capable, go ahead. Thank you so much. I'm so honored. I just want to tell you that thanks for being a change agent in the entertainment industry, for being a part of all the magic that entertainers, creators are creating in Africa, and also making them relevant with ease. Like, it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. We continue to celebrate and uplift you. And the last thing I want to say is shine on.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for having me on Shine On.
Yeah,
I love you, my
you.
sister. And
Thank you
please
so
come
much.
back to Kenya.
No, come back.